Say goodbye to a new Switch console this year. Helldivers 2 devs fight off an invasion of players, and we could be getting a TV show about some badass dwarves. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is Jinx News. For a while now, the rumor's been that Nintendo's next-gen console would be hitting the shelves before the end of the year. It's a rather pleasant thought. A big old box under the Christmas tree with your name on it, your mum, dad, partner, whoever, watching with excitement as you make your way to open it. You tear through the wrapping paper, lift it to the sky, and see it's an air fryer. Because the Switch 2 hasn't been released yet, and now you look like an absolute idiot for expecting one. Turns out your uncle doesn't actually work at Nintendo. And with multiple sources saying it's been pushed back, it's a double kicker because the rest of Nintendo's year is looking dry AF. I have no doubts they'll be saving some big hitters to drop with the console. After all, the OG Switch had Breath of the Wild day one. And that leaves what for the rest of the year? Princess Peach Showtime, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, and Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door remake. Now, don't get me wrong, they'll probably all be great, but it's not exactly a good look when 2/3 are games that we played over 10 years ago. Nintendo's shares also dipped by 8% due to the reports, but if I was someone that had more than £1 in my bank account, I'd say now's the time to buy. Get some of those cheap shares and laugh your way to the bank once 2025 rolls around. Easy to make money once you have money. Oh well, plenty of time now to save up for the Switch 2. Helldivers 2 is continuing to blow up harder than the planets that you're delivering that sweet, sweet freedom to. The problem is, as everything goes, so too do the servers, which are now serving up more fire than Satan's new mixtape. In fact, over the weekend, the developers were forced to cap servers at 450,000 concurrent players, which sounds like a lot, but considering over on Steam it's now peaked at 400,000 players, and the numbers on PS5 are reportedly pretty similar, that's a whole lot of people missing out on the fun. And the ironic thing is, it kind of feels like Arrowhead are playing their own version of Helldivers 2. All those pesky bugs and automatons are the hordes of players keen to play the game, and the devs are desperately running around trying not to get overwhelmed. The problem is, Arrowhead, despite making a fantastic game, have kind of played themselves. Because on one side, a team has been working around the clock just to stabilize things, and then on the other side, they thought it would be a great idea to make it a double XP weekend. Now, I wish I was in the room when these two teams communicated what they were doing, but I imagine some words were said. Fool of a took. Either way, everyone is now in a panic. They still have my sympathy though. The first Helldivers peaked at like 10,000 players and they estimated a max of like 50,000 for the sequel. And because of that, they also never added an AFK timer, meaning a load of people who've actually managed to connect have probably f***ed off for dinner without having to create an elaborate contraption to prevent them from being kicked. Now ultimately, it's only good news that the game's been a wild success, but even still, maybe they should focus on shooting those bugs instead of shooting themselves in the foot. And we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot too if we didn't ask you to please subscribe. We're still a small channel, but we have big dreams. And who knows, tomorrow's show might just be double XP. Unless you've been living under a rock for 3 years, you'll know that games have become the latest world that Hollywood have been looking to for inspiration. Edgerunners, Arcane, The Last of Us HBO series, all have been huge commercial successes. And with the media machine always down to make a quick buck, they're now working their way through the list to lesser known IPs. And next in their sight seems to be the FPS Deep Rock Galactic. Nothing's been confirmed just yet, but according to its creator, Soren Lundgaard, he's been approached about a TV show. And although Ghost Ship Games are pretty busy with fantasy card battler Spell Rogue and spin-off Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, they're not just gonna hand it over. He said, "We would want to be involved as well. If we could just say, yeah, you do it, and not be involved, then it would happen, but that wouldn't be the right thing to do." But it's one of those games that if adapted right, could make for a great TV show. I mean, it's about dwarf miners on an alien planet and as a whole host of supporting characters, each with their own specific roles in the game. You had the dwarves themselves, all bearded with thick Norwegian accents. There was Mission Control, who probably isn't a dwarf due to the lack of beard and his very, very British accent. And then there were a bunch of robots who could make for some fun side characters too. And I'm curious what you all think. Would a TV show work? What lesser known IPs would you like to see adapted next? Let us know in the comments. And now it's time for a Quickfire Round, the segment designed for all you with a very short attention span. Here's some pictures of some dogs. right? Ready? Well, let's go then. Post Malone is curating the soundtrack of WWE 2K24 and will appear in-game as a DLC character. Now, I'll admit, I'm a bit so-so on his music, but after that Lockdown Nirvana stream, the dude will forever have my respect. Plus, considering all the grimy stuff surrounding WWE right now, he's probably the most wholesome, chill guy they could have picked. Also, the dude added some Turnstile to the soundtrack, which is a solid choice. Immortals of Avium is back in the news. That's the $125 million game that came out last year. Have no idea what I'm talking about? Well, you're not alone. Luckily, we made a handy little video all about it. Well, I don't think EA will be making their money back anytime soon. Why? Well, because here in the UK, you can currently pick it up for £1. Yep, a single pound, which, wait, that means I can afford it. Hell yeah! Wow, that's good news. Although honestly, it's all rather tragic considering it was a AAA game released like 6 months ago. Last up, Dungeons & Dragons is getting a live stage show. The 20-sided tavern will debut in New York in May and looks to be a hybrid of live D&D style storytelling, improv comedy, and audience participation. A lucky audience member will get to join as a player while everyone else gets to vote on adventure choices. It'll be the first time the show has a fixed location, and who knows, if they nail their performance checks, we might just see it elsewhere too. And that's the show! Catch up on Friday's video somewhere around here and swing by tomorrow for that sweet gaming news.